Are you looking for ways to level up your chord progressions, make them more interesting, more cinematic, and more impactful? Today, I'm going to talk about a simple technique achieving just that using only simple major and minor chords. Usually, when we create a chord progression, we are led by the scale that we are in. So for instance, if I'm in G major, I would use G major and perhaps E minor, C, D major, chords that are in the G major scale. Now, what if I tell you, drop the whole scale thing? You can use chords in whatever scale you want. I'm not talking about 20th century atonal music. What I am talking about is using common chord tones as a way to keep everything coherent, even when we're going pretty far away in terms of the scale we're in. Let me demonstrate this. Let's take the C major chord. The C major chord is made of C, E, and G. A common tone chord would be any chord that incorporates either E, C, or G. So I could go from C major to E flat major. And that's okay because they both have the G in common. Okay, we got. And that gives us a sense of coherence. Let's contrast that to a chord progression when we don't have any common chord tones. Say I'd go from C major to E flat minor. This feels much less connected. Compare this to this. Not that the second chord progression is wrong, on the contrary. It could also be very effective in certain situations, but the chords themselves feel a bit disconnected from each other. I want to give one specific example for a chord progression using this technique. This progression actually can be found in the Man of Steel theme by Hans Zimmer. The progression goes like this. We start off with the chord C. Then we go to A flat major, and then to F major. As you may have noticed, our common tone is C. And what's interesting about this chord progression is that in the first chord, we have the C as the root note of the chord. In the second chord, that root note C turns into the third of the chord in A flat major. And then in the third chord, it becomes the fifth of the chord in F major. So I'm using three major chords. Each one has a common tone to the previous chord, and I get this very interesting sound. In a DAW, you can visually see that we got this C turning from root to third to fifth. If I change the voicings a little bit, we can make it sound even more smooth. This chord progression could be very effective as a magical reveal moment or something like that. Let's add to the drama by using a choir singing this chord progression. Instant cinematic drama. As I said, this chord progression can be found in Man of Steel. This was just one example. You can obviously use this technique to create all kinds of interesting sounds. And this is a very widely used technique in cinematic music to create drama and impact in a way that using regular diatonic chord progressions would just not be enough. Have you used this kind of chord progressions before? If you have, please let me know in the comments about your favorite chord progressions using common tones. If you have any questions or suggestions or requests, drop those in the comments as well. I read everything and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you learned something, enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. Until next time, goodbye.